For 9.5 months I travelled round the world, living out of a backpack, budgeting as much as I could and having the best time I ever could have asked for. With two of my best friends, we met people from all around the globe, and I travelled through 4 continents and 18 countries. And this is my story.
We're going on an adventure!
Welcome to The Big Trip. For some reason I was never that bothered about going travelling, perhaps because I'd already been to a few countries already. But that had never been longer than 2 weeks, so the thought of 9 months was really scary. The crazy thing is that I almost never took my cameras. Carrying around expensive gear was risky. I was going to be staying in hostels and visiting new cities that I'd never been before. Weight was also a big issue as well. I'd have to carry everything round on my back, as well as some transport having weight limits. But how could I miss filming these amazing places? Now that I had decided to bring the cameras, I couldn't film every second of every day, and as the trip went on, it got quite tiring. If we ran into trouble or on the move, it was always tricky to keep filming. Another one was parties. If I was going out drinking, I'm not going to take an expensive camera out whilst having a few beers. That's just an accident waiting to happen. And finally, sometimes I just wanted to live in the moment and not look from behind the camera lens. But hopefully I've got enough footage to make something worth watching. So let's go.
Our journey began on Thursday the 16th of October, where we left England, crossed the Atlantic Ocean and arrived in sunny Mexico. For the first 4 months, it would just be Ryan and I. And we started off in style by drinking too much in Cancun's nightclubs and hitching a ride with a stranger. Not the safest way to begin our journey. We had just the one crazy night in Cancun before setting off the following day to the less touristic town of Tulum. The area is famous for its coastal Mayan ruins, so we hired bikes and rode to the ancient city.
Hello, this is the 3rd day into the trip, and we're in the Tulum ruins in Mexico.
It's a bit hot and humid, so we've had to escape to the shade.
Being built on cliffs beside the Caribbean Sea, Tulum was an important trade route and was one of the last cities inhabited and built by the Mayan civilization. Today, it's really popular with tourists, unsurprisingly with its stunning beachside location. Tulum was definitely a great place to visit and a cheaper alternative to Cancun. However, we had only originally flown to Mexico as it was a lot cheaper than going directly to our next destination, Belize.
It's very busy on the bus.
Belize was already quite different. Rather than the tourist buses, we had our first experience of a crammed local bus, before taking a taxi along dirt tracks to our final stop. After trying some raw sugarcane and fixing a flat tyre, we arrived to the small fishing town of Sarteneja in the north of Belize. For the next 6 weeks we will be living and volunteering at a local organisation called Wild Tracks. Wild Tracks is a rehabilitation centre for injured and orphaned animals or illegal pets. They mainly focus on black howler monkeys, Jeffrey's spider monkeys and manatees. All volunteers, including Ryan and I, were given different animals to work with. Ryan had to feed 16 monkeys 4 times a day, as well as feed the manatees.
Good man.
I was given only 2 monkeys, but being much younger, they needed much more attention. Wild Tracks' aim is to release these monkeys back into the wild. Being so young, they need to be given attention that they're missing from their primate parents. This included feeding them a healthy diet of milk and different types of fruit. A small group of us had a rotation of 2-hour shifts from both inside and outside the enclosure. These two youngsters are now in a safe, secure location for their journey back to the wild. But unfortunately, this wasn't always the case.
Hello, this is day 9 of the overall trip and day 7 at Wild Tracks. I'm just looking after my monkeys that I'm in charge of, Chipper and Izzy, 2 young Jeffrey's spider monkeys. Normally I'd be in the cage with them, but this is the last shift of the day, so I have to stay outside. Chipper is the younger of the 2, and she actually was found in a plastic bag by some kids. They just had her in a plastic bag, and then she was brought here. Chipper's still a lot more playful because she's a lot younger than Izzy, and so she often hugs me all the time, which is quite fun. And Izzy, she was actually shot, and so severely that the Belizean doctors wanted to put her down. But luckily they got the funds for a US doctor to come in and save her, which is great.
It's a great feeling to know you're helping these amazing animals on their way back to the wild. And after a few weeks, I discovered how mischievous they could really be. More time passed and the monkey-human bond grew stronger. I realised how similar to children these little monkeys could be, with their own personalities and actions. About 2/3 of the way in, we decided to explore some other areas of the country.
Hello, we're about a month now into our trip. I'm currently sat in Sarteneja.
We're about to go on a 3-day vacation to Caulker. Go slow.
Go slow.
Go slow is the island's motto, with the only transport being golf carts, bicycles or your own legs. It has a very relaxed atmosphere, and despite Belize being part of Central America, it has much more of a Caribbean culture. Not long after we'd arrived, the sun was shining, and as the weather was supposed to be bad for the next few days, we rushed out on a snorkeling trip where we were surrounded by nurse sharks and stingrays. After Australia, Belize is home to the 2nd largest barrier reef system in the world, so it's a great place to see all different types of marine life. Unfortunately, the weather on Caulker got progressively worse, so we spent our 2nd day wandering around and exploring the island.
Day 2 in Caulker.
What's up?
We've just followed the path all the way down the island, and it actually turns out it's a lot bigger than we originally thought.
A couple of blokes gave us some coconuts as well, so happy day.
Cheers.
The following day, the weather was worse again, and we almost didn't make it back as the sea was so rough. The boat's captain had refused to stop in Sarteneja, but luckily we managed to arrive safely. What we hadn't realised was that it was Belize's rainy season, and the weather at Wild Tracks was possibly even worse. But luckily, the majority of our time here was sunny, leaving us to do additional work like gathering seagrass for the manatees and feeding some of the other captive wildlife here a lot more pleasant. However, sometimes we covered ourselves up from head to toe to avoid mosquito bites. During our time here, things were always being improved by the local workers, including a new enclosure for one of Ryan's monkeys.
Hello, I'm Ryan, the current carer for Rafiki, the spider monkey. Cared for him for the last 6 weeks, it's been awesome so far. He's gone through big changes recently. He's moved enclosure from over there next to the baby howler monkeys. This happened 2 days ago, so far so good. My favourite things about Rafiki is him smiling when he takes his milk. He loves playing as well, he loves hair, so you've got to be careful with that bit.
Our 6 weeks here had been awesome and completely different to anything we'd ever done before. Our new human and monkey friends would both be missed. but it was time to leave this amazing remote town and continue our journey south through Central America.
Seven weeks into the trip now. We are in San Ignacio in Belize. We just left Wild Tracks a few days ago, which we were missing terribly. But now we're in this lovely location.
So yesterday we went to the ATM caves. That was absolutely awesome. Went about a mile deep into the caves, saw loads of Mayan ruins and artifacts.
No cameras allowed, unfortunately.
No cameras allowed. Now we're about to head to Guatemala, across the border, and a short bus ride away. So that's the end of our Belizean adventure.
Better get our Spanish on the go.
Yeah.
Buenos dias.
Next time we head west and the Spanish-speaking struggle begins.
Up in the highlands of Guatemala.
And we explore the country's historic cities.
Welcome to Caye.